Alright, so I stopped in Malibu. I came down from Long Beach. Malibu's about an hour away. We got another hour to drive because our final destination is a place called Austen, California. My friends live there, and that's the reason for this video today. I'm gonna be interviewing them. They're both in aviation, so it's gonna be a great video. Stay tuned. Check out this view though. Instagram. What are you talking about?
You complaining about your traffic?
Can I come out? Can I come in?
Come in.
Alright, y'all. Finally got Francisco to sit down with me. This is just going to be like unscripted. I'm really not looking at anything on my laptop right now. I'm just trying to look cool. But, alright. So, go ahead and tell us about yourself. What's your rate in the Navy? First of all, he's active duty. Where are you stationed at?
I'm stationed in Point Mugu, Naval Air Station, Point Mugu, California.
Okay, so can you give us a general idea where Point Mugu's at?
Point Mugu is kind of in between, like the Valley, like Fresno area, Bakersfield, and Los Angeles. It's kind of near Santa Barbara and Oxnard, California.
Okay, Oxnard.
Yep.
Everybody says Oxnard. I just say Oxnard.
Yeah, we'll do the same thing too when we move here, but
okay.
When we went to the restaurant, they said Oxnard, so
all right, so let's dive into your naval service, shipmate.
Right,
Thanks for your service.
Thank you.
So what do you do in the Navy? I want to know. Tell me about it.
All right, so I've been in the Navy for 6 years,
okay.
And my rate is AM, also known as a aviation structural mechanic. I'm a second class, so they say is AM2.
AM, okay.
Yep.
So AM, all right.
AM2. I pretty much work with the structure of the aircraft, from F-18s, like fighter jets, and P-3s would be like cargo planes, C-130s, helos, anything like that. And I work with the structure, the outer exterior parts of the aircraft, and tires, hydraulics. And I can't really tell you much what I do here now in Point Mugu, but prior to where I was in Lemoore, I was working on F-18s, the fighter jets.
Okay.
And we do final release and checks on the aircraft carrier whenever we send the aircraft out, making sure that the aircraft is good to go to fly.
Okay. For those of you who are wondering, I've known this guy for 3 years or something?
Yeah, about 3 years.
I pretty much know a bunch of this stuff, but I'm just asking it for y'all, of course. So I was on deployment with this guy. I was stationed in Lemoore with you. Unfortunately, I'm just kidding, not unfortunately, but that place has a lot of cows there. And yeah. I'm not really accustomed to that. But
it smells bad.
It does smell bad. So give me a general consensus of what you do underway on your ship, on the ship.
All right, let's break it down to you.
Okay.
So let's say I'm a day check. All right. So there's day check and night check, and the ship always has to be working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's no days off. So day check starts at about 5:30 in the morning. So typically I'd wake up around 4:30 to get ready, get breakfast, and be there before time in, right? Go ahead and do that. And what we do, we check tools. So one of the biggest thing that we do is make sure we check tools before we get into work, because there's this thing called FOD, which is foreign object damage. So we gotta check tools, make sure nothing's missing, nothing's damaged, because anytime they try to release an aircraft and there's a tools missing, then it could cause like a catastrophe, damage the aircraft. And
how could it cause damage to the aircraft?
Let's say I went up to the flight deck and I have my tools. I didn't check it in the morning or prior to going up to the flight deck, and I was about to release the aircraft, and next thing you know, I'm missing a ratchet or a wrench or anything like that. So if they were to send that off and I have no idea where my tools are, that tool can get sucked in the engine and destroy that engine. And mind you, engines usually cost around, I can't remember, I think it was like $400 million. Just an engine. Just the engine. So
it's an expensive engine.
it is pretty expensive. So that's one of the reasons why we check our tools every morning we come in. And then next we make sure we check our flight schedule, what time we have to be up there on the flight deck, because they always release a flight schedule to see what time we're going to have to be up there.
Mm-hmm.
And we do checks of the aircraft before it goes out, and we check it when it comes back to make sure it's ready to go up again for the next event. So before I left, I was a troubleshooter, so we check every single thing that can go wrong before the aircraft is released out of the aircraft carrier. So, and then but before that, it's a lot to explain, but there's different shops that you go to when you're in Naval Air Station. So you can go to a troubleshooter, you can go to your shop. Your shop is when you work for what you actually went to school for.
Yeah.
So like I said, AM, we work with structures, right? So we do a lot of inspections, like special inspections would be 84 days, 168 days, 336, and etc. We open up the aircraft, so it pretty much goes in the barn, that's what we call it. Mm-hmm. It's in the hangar. So the aircraft is down for inspection. We'll open it up, we inspect the grooves, every single thing that's in that aircraft to make sure it's maintained in proper standard, to make sure it can last forever, because we can't just purchase aircraft like that. Yeah. It's expensive. Yep. You know what I mean?
And that's the tax money.
Exactly. We don't want to take your money. So that's one of the other things you can do. So, and also tires, we inspect those. We do hydraulics. So for all you guys who don't know, hydraulics is pretty much the main thing that moves the flight controls of the aircraft. Mm. So yeah, of course you have your engine, right? To take off, goes up and down. But to maneuver, you have your flight controls, your aileron, your stabs, and your rudders. So to move those, it's a hydraulics that's moving that aircraft.
Okay.
So we do anything from testing the hydraulics, make sure there's no hydraulic leak, and such. So we do that. There's many more. They said it's about, I think, like 80 or 90% of the aircraft is on us, AMs, aviation structural mechanics. So
okay. So overall, be honest now.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do this. I want you to give 2 positives and 2 negatives of being underway as an AM structural mechanic. Go.
All right. So 2 negatives being underway as structural mechanic would be jacking an aircraft, right? Jacking an aircraft.
That sounds weird. Sorry.
Ignore that one. So jacking an aircraft. So every time there's something wrong with the landing gear, right?
Okay.
When it flies, the aircraft has to get jacked to make sure it goes up and it goes down. Okay. Because if it can't go down, the aircraft can't land on the carrier.
Yeah.
So it has to divert. It has to do an emergency landing somewhere else. What if we're not anywhere near, a land or any sort? So we have to jack the aircraft. That's one of the hardest thing as a airframer being underway, because you have to request permission to jack the aircraft. The ship itself has to stop kind of its mission and where it's going to go, because the carrier cannot move while we're jacking the aircraft because it's dangerous. It's going up in the air. So that's one. That's the negative thing. And then the second one would be just special inspections, opening up the panels, because you got to get what we call hazmat. It's hazardous materials to clean up. So you open it up, right? And then you clean up the panels. You got to get alcohol. You got to get CPC, corrosion preventative, and then make sure that everything's clean. So those are hard to get underway. Okay. Well, when you're back home, jacking an aircraft, you just jack it. You don't need any permission to do it or anything like that. And in hazmat, we have it like that. So those are the 2 negative things. The 2 positive things, I guess, if you call them positive, would be time flies when you're underway. There's nothing to worry about, but it still sucks. Don't get me wrong, but it time flies. That's one of them. And 2 would be, I can't say poor, because you said just my rate, right? 2 positive things about my rate being underway.
Yes.
Damn.
It's hard to find positives?
It's hard. It's very hard to find positive things to do on your way.
So, like positive things just overall about... Overall.
Being underway. Okay. I would say the camaraderie. So we get to know each other. Everyone suffer all together. You know, we're all in that ship for 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, possibly a year, and there's really nothing else to do. So you have to find things to entertain yourself.
Like games, like cards.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. Play spades and play video games.
Lock each other in the closets.
Exactly. So that, and then another thing would be the ports. It's what everybody waits for.
Yeah.
And look forward to, because say you've been gone for like a month, you're on the ship the whole time, so you haven't had, well, if you like drinking, you haven't had any drinks or just good food overall, because we all know the ship doesn't really offer the best food. So that's one of the other things we look forward to, and explore the world and go to different countries. So that would be it. Just camaraderie and the ports.
Okay. So, let's see. What about being on shore? So what is your seashore rotation?
So my seashore rotation would be 5 years sea duty.
Okay.
So that's what I just finished with VFA2, Lemoore, California, 5 years. And now it's my shore duty. I'll be here for 3 years.
Okay. So your seashore is 5 at sea, 3 on shore.
Yes.
Okay. See, MA's, we're 3 and 3.
Okay.
Okay. And, so go ahead and tell them something positive about, or 2 negatives and 2 positives, if you can think of them, about being on shore duty as an AM.
2 negative things being shore duty? I mean...
It can be about the work. It can be about the job. It can be about anything.
I guess the one of the negative thing in shore duty... I mean, not shore, just being ashore, or shore duty?
Shore duty.
Shore duty?
Yeah.
The one of the negative thing, the pace is really slow, so
Okay,
time goes by pretty slow when you're at work. There's really not much going on, so that's another thing. That's one of the negative thing. It's slow. Everybody just takes their time, compared to sea duty. Just go, go, go. You move. Another negative thing would be the work, or I guess the evaluation, how you get evaluated on what you do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to get a promotable evaluation, it's mostly based on collateral duties like command. So let's say community hours, college degree, anything that has to do outside of work, right? So they base a lot of things on that. That's one of the negative things being in shore duty. So if you're working hard but you don't have anything outside, you kind of look like a piece of crap to the command, because you're not doing outside things to develop personal stuff. Exactly. That's another thing. So those 2 negative, and 2 positive would be we have time for ourselves. We don't have to go underway. We don't have to deploy. We don't have to go anywhere else. We're here. We're back to normal life. It's pretty much a 9-to-5 job. So that's one of the biggest positive thing. And second is would be just work on school, I guess. Like if you were to you want to finish your degree, you can do that. You can go to college while you're in shore duty, because you can't do that, because you're underway. Let's say you have a paper due and you already know underway, the internet goes in and out, and you have a paperwork due Monday and the internet's out. You're screwed.
So let's just summarize and say internet stuff, like whether it's, whether you like to upload on YouTube a lot, whether you like to do college work, you can't really do that underway, but you don't have the freedoms that you do on the shore.
Right.
Okay. So for most of the people watching this video, they clicked on it because of the title.
Correct.
And for the other people watching, I don't blame if they just skip through this video, because it really doesn't apply to them. So if you were looking at somebody right now and they asked you, should I be an aviation structural mechanic, an AM, what would you tell them? Yeah, look me in the eyes now.
All right. If you wanted to be an aviation structural mechanic, if you're into hands-on things, and if you want to be working on aircraft and that's something you really want to do, then go for it. If you like dirty job. But if you want to sit on on your butt and you do like paperwork or anything like that, and you don't like working on hand stuff, then maybe another rate's better for you. But I love it. I highly suggest it. You learn a lot about the aircraft than most of the aviation rates that are out there, because like I said, there's like 80 or 90% of the aircraft is on us. So if you were to pick it, I highly suggest it.
All right, cool. All right, Francisco, thank you so much for the interview. I'm going to link his Instagram below. And if you want to follow him, he does, you like to do photography stuff. And
I try to. I do it for fun.
He posts a lot of nude photos on Instagram,
I do.
too.
Hashtag send nudes.
Yep, send nudes.
Yep.
And so, guys, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, click the thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. Thanks. All right, let's redo that.
No.
All right, see you next time.